Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really glad that you are here and that I can welcome you at Ambrela Development Forum 2023. This year, a forum is connected with the SlovakAid Development Summit. Ambrela Development Forum is an international conference organized by the Platform for Development Organizations, Ambrela, in a partnership with the Slovak Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs. Other partners that we would like to thank are European Commission's representation in Slovak Republic, Strong Roots and EU, GENE, as well as Faculty of Social and Economic Sciences and Faculty of Arts, Comenius University. As you all know, we are at the premises of Faculty of Arts, beautiful premises. I have to confess that this is the first time that I am here and I am impressed. So we would like to express our gratitude to the Faculty of Arts, Comenius University. The organizers have gathered representatives of civil society and decision makers representing state and public official development assistance to create for you a unique opportunity to engage in networking, learning, and advocacy. The forum features a wide range of panel discussions, workshops, and presentations. This year, we will focus on several topics, mostly on Ukraine, but we won't also forget about other parts of the world, like Horn of Africa. We will talk about global citizenship, education, and the future of liberal democracies. All these are very up-to-date and pressing issues that we believe deserve our greatest attention. I hope that today you will enjoy not only listening to our speakers, but also engaging in useful networking, sharing experience and innovations. Now, let me ask Daniel Kaba, Executive Director of Ambrela, for opening remarks. Dano, please join me on the stage.
Good morning, everybody, ladies, gentlemen, your excellencies, my dearest colleagues and friends. Thank you very much for coming, first of all. I'll try to be brief because we have a slight delay and we have two more lovely speakers, namely State Secretary Mr. Chovanec, and after him also Director of Concord, Tina Cox. We are here again, the second edition of Ambrela Development Forum 2023, after more than a year, with the title Crisis Response and Beyond. And exactly, it's been a year and a half, more or less, when it comes to the Ukrainian crisis, or namely what happened after the Russian full-scale invasion last year, since February 2022. We all probably have hoped that the things would develop much faster in terms of the peace and also in terms of the Ukrainian territory. Unfortunately, this is not the case. And now, together, the civil society with the donors from Central Eastern Europe, and we have many with us today, all together with the European Commission and international organizations, WFP, UNHCR, you name it, DG ECHO. We are facing the challenges ahead of us when it comes to the next year, when it comes to the donor or resource base that is somehow not corresponding again, and the gaps is widening when it comes to the humanitarian needs and the ability or capability to cover everything what is needed. So today we also come together mainly as Central Eastern European actors to talk about how we can cooperate better. Maybe a couple of years ago, maybe 10 years ago, the global challenges did not affect that much our region. Now, with all the problems behind our door, but also inside the house, has tremendously increased. We experience COVID pandemics, migration, war, the largest humanitarian crisis since World War II in our neighboring country, in Ukraine, and so on and so forth, without trying to name the other looming crises around us, including Israel and Palestine. So we can reasonably be asking what is beyond and how we can reach that point, actually, collectively. Because in my humble opinion, we cannot go beyond on an individual basis. Therefore, we meet here today. So I'm happy that we have representatives from Central Eastern European countries. We also have with us European Commission, international partners, and also, least but not last, the partner countries. Today, mainly with our Ukrainian colleagues, both civil society representatives as well as the state authorities and administration. Yeah, there is a very nice saying that is all about coming together is a beginning, right? Keeping together, the ability to stick together is a progress. But working together could be a success. So, I wanted to tell and share much more this morning with you, but for the sake of the time and your comfort, I would close my speech only with a few last remarks. This edition, we also try to strengthen the cooperation among ourselves. Therefore, we added element of connections. So simultaneously, we would not only have the plenary, the main stage and panels, but also you could enjoy deep talks in the other room upstairs. And we have also side room and the other one for bilateral negotiations and meetings. And I think that those of you who were contacted, you know very well. And should you be in need of fresh air, that's my secret tip, I would gladly invite you for a whatever coffee or a small talk with your colleagues outside on my left hand in the atrium. Nice view, and you can also enjoy the photo exhibition therein. That will be solemnly opened in the evening. Let me now invite you to the podium, our second speaker today. And I'm very happy that the newly appointed State Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and European Affairs accepted our invitation. So now I would like to pass over to Mr. Chovanec. Please, Mr. Chovanec. And thank you for your attention.
Dear ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and the friends of development, cooperation and humanitarian aid, it's my great honor to stand before you today as the representative of the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs of the Slovak Republic on this important occasion dedicated to the 20th anniversary of Slovakia's commitment to development cooperation. I'm very happy I'm here also for the reason that this is my first event in my new position, so I will remember this for the rest of my life, and I hope this will help our cooperation also in the next years or next months. This forum serves as a testament to our shared commitment to making the world a better place, and I'm deeply grateful for the opportunity to address this gathering. The journey we embark upon today is a reflection of the dedication of our country and its people to the principles of solidarity, empathy, and the pursuit of sustainable development. Over the past 2 decades, Slovakia has evolved into a dynamic and engaged player in the field of international development, and our partnership with non-governmental organizations has been integral to our success. Our partnership with non-governmental development organizations has indeed been the cornerstone of our efforts. Your dedication, passion, and tireless work in the field have often been the driving force behind positive change. It is through your determination that we have been able to support projects and initiatives that have brought about transformative impact in education, healthcare, clean water, and economic development. The past 2 decades have been marked by both triumphs and challenges. While we celebrate the progress we have made, we also recognize the pressing issues that remain. The global community faces critical challenges such as climate change, conflicts, poverty, and inequality. In the face of these challenges, it is our shared responsibility to continue working together to create a more than just a sustainable world. In closing, let us remember that the journey of development cooperation is not defined by a single moment, but by our ongoing commitment to making a difference. Together, we can create a more inclusive and sustainable world for future generations. I wish you fruitful discussion and collaboration that will unfold during this forum, and I'm confident that our shared dedication will light the way for a better tomorrow. Thank you, and may our collective efforts continue to inspire positive change around the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, State Secretary Chovanec. I'm really happy that Tanya Cox from Concord Europe is with us today. So I would like to invite her to join me on the stage with her opening remarks. Tanya, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's really a great pleasure to be back here in Bratislava for the second Ambrela Forum. Thank you very much for the invitation. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. When I was entering secondary school, I was given an essay to write by my English teacher. We were given a choice of 5 topics. I hadn't got a clue which one to choose, but I opted for history is bunk. Now, what I mean by bunk is rubbish, useless. That's the word. I had great fun over the course of the following hour saying why I thought history was an absolutely useless subject to be studying at school. Now, you may ask, why am I sharing this story? Certainly not just to show what an ignorant 11-year-old I was, but to show you what I've actually learned subsequently. I have learned that history is extraordinarily important. It is super important in teaching us lessons. Lessons about what's coming forward as well, not just what has gone past. The question is, are we willing to actually heed the lessons? Are we willing to really learn from the lessons of the past? Perhaps we should, because as propeller heads rightly said, history's repeating. And I think we can see that in many of the crises that we're facing today. Look at the Israel-Palestine situation. Not the first time conflict erupts in that part of the world. The Russia-Ukraine, the Russians' invasion of Ukraine. Not entirely a surprise. Lessons could have been learnt from history. South Sudan, many other countries in Africa, which, by the way, are tending to get a little bit forgotten with all the crises that are coming a bit nearer to our doors. So, one of the things that I've at least learned is that we really need to take the time to appreciate and to reflect on what history can teach us. But of course it's super difficult because we're all so busy. We've all got so much on our plates. The world is speeding up. There's no question about it. Change is speeding up. But so are crises. And this is the topic for our conversations today. All sorts of different crises. The climate crisis, conflicts, health crises. What might come next? Biotechnology, bioterrorism, IT, AI, artificial intelligence. We don't know what kinds of crises are on our doorstep, but crises are speeding up. So we definitely need to be taking them seriously and thinking what we can do to change and to prevent. At the moment, however, what I see is that very often our reaction is one of closing down on ourselves, focusing inwards. securitization. And I'm just wondering, is that the best response? I know we'll be discussing this over the coming day, and I'm really looking forward to getting ideas and exchanging ideas together. Crises should indeed make us stop to think. Let's face it, many, if not most, of the crises in the world today are man-made, as in human-made, but often man-made. Sorry, folks. There are only a few that are not. And I think, therefore, it really behoves us to ask questions about why. What can we do? What is it about our modus operandi that is creating so many crises? So we do need to not just look at the root causes and talk about the root causes, but actually think about solutions that will address the root causes. And when I'm thinking about this, and I take conflict because I think it was Daniel, but also the State Secretary that was mentioning some of the crises right on your doors, right on our doors. Conflicts we know recur if they're not dealt with appropriately. Well, what are appropriate solutions if we're looking at root causes? I mean, we're talking about things like justice. Everybody needs and has a sense of justice, and they need that sense to be respected. Everybody needs to have access to resources. Everybody needs opportunities. People need hope. And if, when we're finding the solutions to the crises, we don't address those things, we haven't found the solutions. Nowadays, there are actually even more crises that I think are building up and that we're tending not to think about because of the so-called really urgent crises, the fires that we're fighting. But there are social crises as well. Look at the massive rise of inequalities that we've seen over the recent years, the recent months even, especially with inflation. It's hit us all around the world. So people are struggling. And when people are struggling, social unrest starts occurring. Everybody needs that sense of well-being. How many of you in this room, I'm not asking you to put up your hands, but just think about it for yourself. How many of you in this room really and truly can say you have a good sense of well-being? That all your boxes are ticked and that your well-being is just spot on? I at least couldn't put my hand up to that. And yet we're the lucky ones. We have jobs. We've had good education. We, I hope, all of us have roofs over our heads, enough to eat. So let's just think about those who are not in our fortunate position and what their well-being might be like, or lack thereof. So I do think that we're now approaching probably two tipping points: social tipping point and climate crisis tipping point. And we must not forget them while we're also trying to put out the fires, because otherwise we'll have much bigger fires. In Chinese, the word crisis is made up of two characters. The first character represents danger. The second character represents, if it's taken in isolation, it means something like a change point. And I think that we should think about that second character very carefully, this change point. The Chinese are known for their philosophical approach, for their long-term perspective. And maybe that's even partly why we fear them, why we're always turning to this geopolitical competition with Chinese. But they're right. Crises can change things. And I think we need to be really, really careful, because crises may change things in the way that we don't want, and in the way that we can't go back again. Climate crisis is just one of those examples. We all know we're pushing those planetary boundaries and we've burst straight through some of them. And we can't go backwards from that. So now time to really start thinking about those root causes. What is it that's causing so many of the crises in the world today? For me, it's the elephant in the room. And it's one that very often civil society, and especially Concord, we do bring it up. But we're not feeling that policymakers are truly listening. Maybe they don't agree, but we'll keep trying. And this elephant that's in the room is the model that we're all living and breathing by, the most particularly economic model, the economic system that we're all forced to comply with. Forced and forced, we can change, huh? We have that ability. We were the ones that put the model in place. We can change it. The economic system is most certainly underpinning the massive rise in inequalities that we see. It is most certainly underpinning the environmental degradation, the biodiversity loss, and the climate change that we are witnessing. So I would really urge all of us, and most particularly the policymakers, people in government, please start thinking further ahead than just the weeks and the months and the fires that you're trying to fight right now. Start thinking a generation ahead. Plan for the future. And please don't be afraid to take those difficult but right decisions. Think differently. Challenge ourselves. Our future actually does depend on it. And this is not an exaggeration. It is literally true. Now, I'm going to paraphrase Einstein. He once said something to the effect of, you can't solve the problems that you've created by using the same thinking that created the problems. So we have to think differently. And just putting words like innovative or sustainable in front of something don't mean we found the solution. So think about the weight of history. What history is telling us about the future. Remember the critical importance of well-being, a sense of well-being for everybody, everywhere. And inspire yourselves with some feminist principles. Principles like collaboration, not competition, sharing, caring, making sure everybody is a winner. These are not fluffy concepts. They're extremely difficult to actually put into practice, and it requires a complete mental shift and a different way of working. But I do firmly believe that it will help us to address crises meaningfully. Thank you very much, and I wish us all a wonderful day and very fruitful conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. And I'm really glad that you mentioned the notion of justice and the way crises change us and the world we are living in. I'm sure that we will talk about these issues many times today. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, this forum, this conference today is split into two sections, we may say, into the main plenary and the panel discussions that will be taking place here on the main stage. We will begin with the first one on rebuilding Ukraine in a few minutes, and then we have the deep talks, which is a different format, smaller, less informal talks. So it's really up to you which format, whether you prefer, whether these are plenary sessions or deep talks. If you are interested in joining our deep talks, this is the time for you to leave now. So please, if you would like to go to the first deep talks, leave now. I will give you 1 or 2 minutes. You may use this entrance on this side. There you will find signs that will lead you to the second floor. The crew is also there to help you if you have any problems to find it. And then we will start with the first panel session on rebuilding Ukraine.